Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, Center for Emerging Technologies, with RareGem Productions, changing the way you view new ventures, including you on the pathway to success with your business in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurially Thinking Podcast. Our goal is to energize your entrepreneurial mindset and create pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. I'm Christy Maxfield, Director of Entrepreneur Development Services at the Center for Emerging Technologies.
And I'm Dr. Cheryl Watkins-Moore, Director of Bioscience and Entrepreneurial Inclusion for BioSTL. Hey, Christy.
How you doing?
We're back here again.
I love it. And every time we come back into the studio, we step outside our comfort zone and we invite you to join us on the journey. We want to help you look at your career and your business in new ways, and together we can take the constraints off of how you view current and future endeavors. You can join and stay in touch with the Entrepreneurially Thinking community on all of your favorite online streaming platforms, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or by visiting our website at entrepreneuriallythinking.com, #ETHINKSTL.
Well, today we are speaking with one of the founders and some of the entrepreneurs involved in the East St. Louis initiative. I think this is going to be a great conversation.
No doubt.
You may not know it, but for the last 2 years, graduate students from Washington University have been listening to and talking with business owners and folks with startup ideas in East St. Louis, which is right across our little pond here in St. Louis, right?
Right next door.
Their goal to change people's lives one small business at a time. What that looks like today is a 4-month intensive program that matches the passion and enthusiasm of individuals who have a new or existing business with the expertise of graduate students. So those with MSWs, Masters in Social Work, JDs, which are attorneys, MBAs, I think everybody knows who those are, and folks with MPHs, Masters in Public Health.
And some of them are actually dual degree programs.
That's phenomenal. So we're excited to bring you, I think, a great cast of characters this morning, including ourselves, and talking to them about the initiative and the businesses they're supporting. We'll be right back to get that conversation started. See you in a minute.
Now here's Make It Happen with Keith Sales Pro.
According to Peter Handel, the CEO of Dale Carnegie Training Institute, here are 5 essential rules for great presentations. Number 1, be yourself. If you pose as somebody you're not, your audience will know you're insecure and therefore disbelieve whatever you're saying. 2, tell stories. The purpose of a presentation is not to convey information. You can do that with a data sheet. The purpose of a presentation is to show how the information has meaning for what you're doing. Number 3, practice. The very best public speakers make it seem as though the ideals are so new and original that the speaker is slightly surprised at what he or she is saying. 4, socialize. Audiences consist of individuals. Always arrive early and try to get to know some of the individuals in your audience that you're speaking to. And number 5, brevity. For every presentation that wrapped up too early, there are 1,000 that have gone on way too long. Today, remember, it can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
Follow Keith Sales Pro on Facebook or Twitter at Keith Sales Pro, or visit his website at keithsalespro.com.
It can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
My name is Brandon Walker, owner and operator of Positive and Productive Innovations. Entrepreneurship to me is building your own brand, working diligently, and sacrificing all for yourself and your last name and your family's legacy and lineage.
We're here with Gülcan Yayla, Brandon Walker, and Devon Moody Graham. Today, we're going to get things started by talking with Gülcan about what actually the East St. Louis initiative is and what brought her as an industrial engineer with a psychology minor to Wash U to study to be an MSW, MBA. Oh, and by the way, work with entrepreneurs on the side while doing all of that.
Man, how many symbols and letters do you have?
We have a highly educated community, and
yes,
we are very, very fortunate to have members working in all different areas.
Yes.
So today we're going to get that conversation. Gülcan, could you just tell us a little bit more about what that East St. Louis initiative is and what it's doing today?
First of all, to invite us to here. We are very excited, both me and entrepreneurs. We started East St. Louis initiative last year as a group of WashU students. I am, as you said, I came from Turkey 2 years ago here to study Master of Social Work and MBA here.
You came here 2 years ago from Turkey?
Yes.
So why did you choose St. Louis?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything about the United States, to be honest. I am the first person coming to just going outside my country in my family. But the social work school here was really good, and they gave me a good scholarship. That's why I just could choose this school.
And she wants to change the world, so she knew that there was some really cool stuff going on in St. Louis.
I was going to say, yes.
Yeah. And, you know, you add that with a nice scholarship. How can you say no?
Absolutely. So everyone that thinks that St. Louis is a small little town, hey, we get folks from Turkey looking at us and
now,
saying they want to come in and change the world.
Our listenership is going to go through the roof.
Absolutely.
But we interrupted you.
Yes.
You were telling us about the East St. Louis initiative.
So I came here, and after coming to the United States, of course, I was expecting something different. But in St. Louis, the segregation that I witnessed here was really surprising to me. It started with Ferguson. I came at that period.
Oh, wow.
And then it just gave me a big opportunity to learn about just what's going on. And I wanted to engage more with the community here because it is a perfect growing opportunity both for me and for the community as well. And then we started having conversations with a group of students, and we realized that there is East St. Louis, which is just 15 minutes from our school.
Right across the pond.
Yes, exactly. And this
but a world
river,
away.
Yes, exactly. And I saw just how people just don't talk about it or just ignore it. So we just said that just maybe we can just use our skills here to do something there. I mean, because I believe that there are good things happening there as well, apart from what we always hear. So we just went and met with some community members there and said that just we have some ideas here because we, as business students or social work students or other students at WashU, we are learning many things, but we are not applying them in a very useful way all the time. And there is a big gap here. I mean, and at the same time, there are entrepreneurs in this area trying to do many good things.
Right.
The recent report that I read was just there are 800 black-owned businesses in East St. Louis area, and half of them are woman-owned. So,
that's remarkable.
Yes, definitely.
And unknown, like you said.
Yeah. So we had just started the conversations with the members, and they really welcomed us. And then it started like that. We started matching students at Washington University with the entrepreneurs from East St. Louis, and they work for 1 year now. It was originally 4 months only, and then we saw that just 1 year would be more meaningful to build the trust between the people, and at the same time just to really make a good contribution.
So you really brought a fresh set of eyes.
That's the same thing I was going to say.
And in just a very keen and literal way that not only weren't you from this area, but you weren't from this country. And then you were able to hone in right away, not only on the disparities, but the opportunity. And I think that's quite remarkable. Can you just tell us a little bit more about your team? Because my understanding is you're not the only person who has come from outside of the United States. And that seems to be an important part of the secret sauce of what you all are doing.
Yes, definitely. We started the St. Louis initiative as 3 people, and 2 of us are not from United States.
It takes an outsider sometimes to do what needs to be done.
Perceptions.
Definitely. Actually, I was very just anxious at the beginning, saying that I am from Turkey, you are from India. What are we doing here in the United States?
That's okay. You have to leave St. Louis to meet St. Louis sometimes. So.
Yes. But it's really worked out. I think being more an international team helped us a lot in terms of just building the trust with the community. Because we were also trying to learn about America, about life here, about East St. Louis, about other parts of St. Louis. So it was a more win-win relationship between entrepreneurs and us. And then just in the first year, we had 6 people in our team, and this year it has grown to 20 people. And most of them are MBA students right now. And we are so glad that right now there are students from other countries, but at the same time, students from the United States, they also increased a lot, because I think there is a new perspective of international students. We are not so afraid of differences, right? Because we are already jumping into a big difference here.
Right. In a way. This is a whole new thing to begin with, and then exploring difference beyond there just takes it to the next level. I also think you have to strive for understanding from the get-go, whether that's a language barrier or a culture that's different. You're bringing to the table that you're learning just as much as you're hoping to contribute. And that, to me, I think speaks to that authenticity that you're speaking about, the trust and authenticity. I can really relate then to somebody who's saying, I want you to not only know more about me, but I'd like to know more about you. And I was just struck by the idea that you went in and had conversations, because very often we don't start there. As obvious as that may be. Right.
We're too afraid to start conversations sometimes because we don't know what those conversations are going to, we have our own biases. So I think it's interesting when you come from outside of the country and you don't have those biases, it's easier to have the conversations because you're really there to learn. I know.
What have you learned?
Yeah.
If I talk about what I have learned, it is a lot of things that I can say, because I came here and combined the two degrees to study social entrepreneurship, and now I am learning more from the entrepreneurs that we are working with than I'm learning at the school, to be honest. And because
that's the way it should be, right?
Yes, definitely.
Practical application.
Yeah, definitely. Also, just as you said, it is a personal growth as well, to just go over your biases and really start interacting with people and going out of your bubble. I really love it, and it has been an amazing
outside of your comfort zone. That's what we talk about here all the time.
And there is a particular comfort zone for university students because the universities make it really easy for their students to stay on campus. And so we're always talking, sometimes it's hard just to get folks to come to Cortex or to T-Rex. To go across the river is actually quite impressive. But like you said, that experiential learning piece is an incredible opportunity. So some of the people you've had experiences with are here in the room.
Yes.
We have Brandon Walker and Devon Moody Graham. And Devon, you're an East St. Louis native. And how did you get started on your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, that started about 20-something years ago when I opened my first candy store.
Ooh.
So we'll fast
Candy's
forward.
a theme on our show, just so you know. We're very attuned to candy entrepreneurs, I think.
So it started with candy. I mean, I was at a school. We had a candy store that was around the corner. I did a lot of after-school activities. My friends spent a lot of money on candy. So instead of me spending money on candy, I asked my dad, could I take my allowance and go to Sam's and buy the candy so that they can buy some for me? I wanted a piece of that market share, so I understood money very early.
That's incredible. Yeah. That's really good.
But from then, fast forward, I ended up finding out that I wanted to be a consultant, and I had no idea what that looked like. I worked in small business for a long time. My parents have small businesses. My dad has a shoe repair shop. My mom is a cosmetologist and a caterer and a lot of different things. Hence the way I move now, because my mom has done so many things. But I've been around it my whole life, and so I just really thought that I fell in love with small businesses. I fell in love with those businesses because the earnings that they made were the reason that I ate.
That's
so
right.
it's very feeling. Close. It's very close to home, and so I fell in love with small businesses. And I worked for a couple of different companies in marketing and some other things, but I knew that I really wanted to work with helping to develop small businesses. So that's
really good.
And Brandon, how did you make the transition into entrepreneurship?
Yes, ma'am. Well, just like Devon, we attended the same grade school.
And my God. So were you buying candy from her?
I bet
at a markup.
I
was buying it at a markup.
Yeah. I got the idea from her, I'm sure. She's a little bit older than me. But I did the same thing. My aunt had a buddy who was actually a wholesale candy dealer. And I was like, hey, I can make some money.
I like that.
But the thing was, I didn't have the education of what to do with the money we were making.
Ooh,
you know, so we were just trying to pay for our girlfriends to go skating or just buying, you know, whatever it was, toys or something.
Immediate needs.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Instead of being taught or grabbing that knowledge of, hey, save this, invest in this, you know,
invest in your
be
business.
like Moe's Bows or something like that, and come up with something that's beautiful and not just waste your money. Growing up in East St. Louis, we see a lot of negative, illegitimate activities going on in the neighborhood, and those activities are all business minded.
They are
projects at the same time.
frankly.
You know, they are great entrepreneurs, but just doing it in the wrong aspect.
Right.
So me coming up, kind of had some run-ins myself, doing negative things, and I vowed I would never do anything illegitimate again. So I took the knowledge I've gained from that and put it into something positive and something that just came out to me. Energy efficiency was a great thing that just popped out when I was going through a rough time, and it really showed me how to help myself, my family, and others at the same time without getting caught up in that illegitimate acts that everyone else is getting caught up in.
So what's your business?
Yes, I'm a startup energy efficiency services company. We dwell in general commercial, small commercial. With that, we do more of just consultancy, creating green initiatives, helping with creating green teams in the workplace, just change, you know, bringing awareness to things that could maximize profits and minimize cost in a business perspective. Also mess with residential candidates. I'm strong for indoor air quality. I think that a lot of people don't pay attention to it. Causes a lot of health problems in our culture, in our communities.
Right. In lower income areas,
Most
we know
definitely.
that all the time.
Most
Yes,
definitely. You know, we've got a 3-bedroom house with 10 people staying in it.
Right.
You know, air filters aren't changed. You've got rodents living in the attics. You just a lot of bad things that are in our house environmentally. Yes, ma'am.
So how long have you had your company, and what's the name of your company?
My company is Positive and Productive Innovations. I've been doing this since 2009, and with the help of the East St. Louis initiative, it's been just jumping since I've met
what
them.
has the East St. Louis initiative done for your business? How have they impacted you and your business?
Yes, they've definitely built up my tenacity as to working harder, you know, because I have a job, but I know I've never always wanted to work for somebody else. You know, it's so easy to put everything into selling somebody else's company or doing something for somebody else, but then we forget, what are we going to do for our own?
Absolutely.
You know, because that company may leave, or we may leave that company, but we always need our own to fall back on.
It's about generating wealth too for your family, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's important is just remembering that the job is not always as secure as you may think it is.
Right.
Sure.
And that mindset of being ready to seize an opportunity when it presents itself takes you a long way.
Oh yeah, and this team with Gülcan and Arpine, Kurtika, all of them, they are great. They let me see it from a different aspect. It's just, I'm loving what they're bringing to my attention, and they have the experience in what they're doing, and I'm taking every word they're telling me, putting it in one ear and keeping it in the head.
So they're helping you build your business out and through a business plan, formality and business planning and
marketing to who are our competitors that we're going against, to what markets are we trying to reach, everything about business. They are really opening my eyes to, because I don't have a college education. You know, I'm just
you have the persistence and the tenacity.
Yes,
now,
ma'am.
right?
And certainly
Yes, ma'am.
some sense of trends.
Absolutely.
And so I want to talk about that and get a little bit more information about Devon's business and dive a little further into what the East St. Louis Initiative program actually looks like after this break.
Yep.
The holidays can be happy, but we may still be dealing with some stress. While this may be a jolly time, you may still be dealing with your rough times. So be mindful this season when stress is getting to be too much. Know that you have some support to manage stress and overcome the difficult things that may have happened or are happening to you. Take 5 through the holidays to find out how to respond to stress. You deserve to be alive and well. Find more ways to take 5. Go to aliveandwellstl.com.
Hello, my name is Zim. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cronus Sleep. Entrepreneurial thinking, to me, means taking the opportunity to reflect and grow.
So, Brandon, we were just talking about how you're working with the East St. Louis initiative to take your business idea to the next level. And you talked about the fact that that's across many different types of disciplines, the marketing, the competitor analysis, etc. Where do you see the opportunity for your business to grow now that you're working with the initiative?
There's no limit. We can't limit ourselves with the knowledge and education that we're all scratching from one another. There's no limit. I feel like I can be one of the Johnson Controls or Siemens Energy Services Company one day.
That's wonderful.
With the help of these guys and just keeping up the discipline and going forward every day, there's no limit to where we can go with this.
That's
I see my company being national, going to other cities, states, doing pro bono work because I've made such great, opportunities with these folks. So just doing whatever it may be.
So they've helped you to broaden your vision for your company.
For sure.
And also the reality of actually making the strides within your company to grow it.
The reality. That's exactly what it is. Making, actually putting these things in place. Because we can talk about it all the time. We can write on big boards, have vision parties, we can do it all we want. But until we actually put the footwork down, make these phone calls, finish these business plans,
So do you have customers right now?
I have a couple customers. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I have some commercial customers in like the convenience stores, small offices. I have a bunch of residential customers where I go and do energy audits, do blower door testing, which checks the ventilation in their homes, depressurizes the home so you can see where all your air leaks are going. So we seal those up, create a better use of your HVAC systems, not using too much, your heating or your cooling isn't going out the window, isn't being wasted.
So tell people how they can find you, Brandon. What is your website? What's the information?
Yes, ma'am.
So they can find you.
Like I said, I don't have a college education, but I'm working on getting a small website together, working with the East St. Louis initiative. Arpon, he's working on that right now.
What's
with the
your
website. Phone number is 618-558-5604. You can look me up on Facebook at Positive and Productive Innovations, also on LinkedIn at Positive and Productive Innovations. My email address is p2innovates@gmail.com, and I'm there to answer any questions you have about your homes, your businesses, K through 12 schools, houses of worship. I dwell in all facets of any building that has your walls, windows, doors, HVAC units, whatever it may be.
For clean
I can be there to help you.
And good living.
We need to call Brandon.
Comfortability, indoor air quality, clean living, helping the future, reducing emissions. We all play a part in that.
That's fantastic.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
And Devon, because you talked about, I know you're doing consulting. I check in with her every 3 or 4 months, and she's a woman on the move.
I am really working on a lot of passion projects, and that's what I call them. But I've been able to narrow them down, especially since having this third baby. I had to narrow them down because she doesn't care about any of this. So I had to narrow my projects down. So the main project that I'm working on right now is getting the first co-working space opening in East St. Louis called the Biz Spot. And
that's exciting.
I'm really excited about that. Right before I came to talk to you guys, I was actually delivering drywall and getting it in before I got rained on. And so that's going on, and it's actually going to be downtown East St. Louis, right near City Hall, right by the police station. So
And how's the East St. Louis initiative? How have they played a role in what you're doing?
They have really helped because I have so many passion projects. They have really helped me to hone in on certain things. Yes.
Incredibly important.
Yes, very important. And also a lot of things that I can't do that you can't. I've been a solopreneur for a while, and so there's things that I know to do, but I can't do because I don't have enough time. And so right now, I'm currently working on research because the goal is to really assess the needs of entrepreneurs within East St. Louis and with the surrounding smaller towns to see what are those needs, what do they actually need, what topics would they want to see in the Biz Spot? What things do they feel they're missing? And then once we assess those things, and obviously the things we know or resources that we know are needed, it'll be easier to service them better.
So it's doing your market research up front, right? So you know how to better service your customer, your customer base. So you're in the very beginnings of analyzing that information, right? And East St. Louis Initiative, you guys are playing a role in doing that, correct?
Yes.
Great.
And what I heard you both touch on was that not only is it that focus, but it's also the opening up your thinking to what's possible. So it's almost two what you might consider diametrically opposed activities at the same time. You're bringing your focus in to a particular point so that you can really concentrate your energy. But at the same time, you're opening up your mind to what's possible. And I think that dichotomy is really interesting. It excites me because I think one of the things we often talk about is that solo entrepreneur, that one person shop may be doing a great job for them, but that's not going to create that personal wealth. That's not going to create the company they can leave for their kids. That's not going to create jobs in their communities. And that may be fine for them. Exactly. You know what? We need folks doing all different types of stuff. But sometimes it's just because we haven't actually been given the opportunity to see the potential. I know I'm always trying to do what I can do in 24 hours a day, and that's not a whole heck of a lot, right? So I think that you've hit on a really important idea for our listeners to think about in terms of their journey, and that solo entrepreneur can be a stepping stone. But as Brandon said, there's also a whole nother world out there that you can take it up a notch. So we're going to shift gears slightly because I want to learn a little bit more about what that means in practical terms from the East St. Louis Initiative. We've talked about it's a year, it went from 4 months to a year, that it involves these different disciplines. It's certainly helping to provide focus and vision within the entrepreneurs. What are the traits you're looking for when you're selecting the entrepreneurs with whom you're working?
It's a great question because we also worked on it a lot, and we have an idea validation checklist. So we look at, for example, the first thing we look at is just, can we really help this business to grow or to start? I mean, do we have that capacity? Because we don't have to we don't want to overpromise to an entrepreneur, and just because it is very important, it is one of our values, integrity, so that we want to deliver what we have promised to the entrepreneurs. That's why the first thing we look at is, can we really make a contribution to this business? And other than that, of course, we look at entrepreneurs' commitment to their community as well, their connection with that, and what is their motivation. And at the same time, of course, the more general criteria about a small business, like what is the potential of this, what is the potential of expanding, and what is the potential of making a pilot project first and then seeing from there.
So do you work with, it seems like you work with those who are just at the very idea stage, young entrepreneurs? Do you work with people who are generating revenue already to help them maybe revisit looking at their business a little bit?
Yeah, like Brandon, help him accelerate what he's doing, and Devon honing in on so that she can get the maximum time.
Yeah, some of our entrepreneurs are a little bit more advanced in terms of generating more revenue for themselves and even employing some other people. For example, Yeshika, that we are working with, she has a business called Desserts Out the Jar. So she's making desserts in small jars, and she's really doing a great job.
One from
and I've tasted her.
Yes, like I said, there's a food theme here.
Yes. Christy and I know if there's food, we're going to be there.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there are different stages.
So you are open to working with entrepreneurs at various stages, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what are some of the things, because we have listeners out there who may be contemplating, just like Devon might have a 1,000 ideas, how do they find you, and how do they pursue talking to you further and getting themselves involved in your initiative? They
can just Google East St. Louis Initiative, and there our website pops up. So it is our website is ESTHL-014-Initiative.org. They can find us from there. At the beginning of each year, we do a pitch competition, and from the entrepreneurs that join our pitch competition, we select the next cohort of entrepreneurs that we are going to work with.
So is that January that this happens, or how often?
It is around January, yeah.
Okay, so people, if you're interested in getting to be a part of this cohort, go on the website, start looking at it, because they're going to be looking at their next cohort.
And I would imagine this dovetails with what the Balsa Foundation has been doing. I know you and I have talked about how this also fits into a continuum of with what CET's programs are and the Square One. Are you seeing that sort of synergy with other entrepreneur support organizations?
Yes, definitely. Actually, Balsa Foundation is an organization that supports us a lot because we didn't want to become a separate entity while there is already so many organizations doing great work here. So we work with Balsa Foundation a lot, and we are a committee under Balsa Foundation right now. We recently made an agreement with them about it. And just entrepreneurs that we are not currently working with, they can also go into their Balsa Foundation's website and see the entrepreneur roadmap that they have created. Also, CET's website also has lots of resources that they can look into.
We do have our Entrepreneur Online Startup Toolkit. And I know Balsa, while we sometimes only think of them during their funding cycle, they offer the coaching and support year round. So there's not a special window there. You don't have to wait and put any constraints on what you want to do right now. I want to just shift gears again. When we have a lot of guests in the studio, there's so many exciting things to talk about that I just wanted to, give Devon a chance to tell us again. I know that it's near the police station, but other than that, how would I find the Biz Spot?
Okay, so the Biz Spot is slated to open by the end of the year. The address is 110 North Main. So I'm so excited about that. 110 North Main, East St. Louis, Illinois, 62201. You can find me if you Google the Biz Spot. The website is now just capturing information. I actually have a few members who have signed up, who are ready to go for membership at the beginning of the year.
We love pre-sales.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. And that website is thebizspotinc.org or .com. And I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm posting a lot of pictures on there. So Instagram, the Biz Spot.
And I just have to do a plug here for Devon. Devon and I have known each other for a couple years now, and she actually joined a contingent from St. Louis. We were all invited out to the White House to it was a science and technology closed door meeting, but it was focused on entrepreneurship, education, and STEM. So Devon has been...
She makes the rounds.
She makes the rounds, right? And it was a great conference. And I think that you are doing some really great work with a lot of our folks on both sides of the river, which is great. And Brandon, I'm just now meeting you, and I'm like, wow, this is a great opportunity. I think that you're involved with, especially when you're talking about green and clean energy. It doesn't touch our communities a lot of times. So how are you educating the community to know that this is something that impacts their lives? Because, a lot of times when we live in environments like you just talked about, we're more worried about putting food on the table
and keeping the roof over our head.
Exactly, and not understanding that roof over your head could be making you ill.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Well, what I like to...
My mother is ma'am. Thank you.
I apologize. But what I practiced in the past, I think starting with the youth, going into the schools when you have at least 3rd and 4th grade on up, where they're going home and they're telling their parents what they're learning. They're going and teaching them new things that the parents not even knowing. So what I tried to do was implement and create the education in a school first, where these kids are learning. They already know about energy. They're smart already, so they know about science class, what's going on. So then you put it in practical reasons for them. Hey, if you start turning your lights off, your moms might be able to buy you some Jordans.
There you go. I tell my kid that all the
motivation.
Yes, ma'am. We heard that growing up. Turn the lights off. Turn the lights off. And now
there's not a money tree out there.
Just complete the equation. It translates into positive benefit for you.
There you go.
Keeping the water running while you're sitting there brushing your teeth, getting ready for school. All that stuff builds up more costs in our homes. You know what I'm saying? And if we have just the behavioral change of turning lights off, not wasting water when we're brushing teeth or taking showers or whatever it is, then we can put those funds into something else. If it's family vacations, more time for each other. If it's more times eating out, whatever it is, you'll be taken away from giving money to that utility company to putting it back into your pocket, because they're going to constantly go up on prices. So you have to make a change in your homes and in your businesses so that you're not constantly giving up all you have to these utility providers.
Absolutely. I think that's a cool business, a very unique business that you have, especially for a person of color. We don't think about energy. We don't think about how that impacts our lives. And I think you bring that flavor to the community that probably I'm sure was missing in our community. If you call me ma'am.
It's a good habit.
It is a good habit.
Yes.
It is a good habit. And he's working with the youth, so these are good things to instill.
But you brought up a great point. When I started even just going to seminars or whatever it was in 2009, I was always the only black. I was always the youngest. And it's been changing over the time, but now I might see maybe just one other brother or sister in a group or something like that. So that's something I really want to do. I want to see what I can work on to bring somebody else into this, have somebody else go to these workshops and seminars with me, because it's not that the people who are holding it are discriminatory or anything.
Right.
We just don't have the idea or the awareness in our community of what's available for us.
And we've talked a lot about needing the wingman, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just need that buddy to go with you to make it a little less scary.
She's my wing woman.
I try.
You guys are doing a great job.
So as we wrap up, we always like to leave our listeners with some words of wisdom, either something you've learned or something you would encourage them to do to help them on the path towards their own journey. Do you have any ideas or thoughts you'd like to share with us, Brandon?
Straight to the point. Don't give up on yourself. Always listen. Get you a mentor. Take advice. You're never too smart. You never can have too much knowledge, and just strive for what you want, betterment for yourself and your family, and you should be okay.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic.
And Devon, can you share your pearls of wisdom?
Just do it. I am the person that does it and then figures it out along the way, because I've never wanted to let opportunities pass because I was too afraid, because I've done that in the past. So I passed on the opportunity to go to London to study because I had my son, and I was like, I don't want to take my son to London by myself. I should have gone. So I made a promise to him that I will never pass up another opportunity. So I do it, then I figure it out along the way, and then new opportunities open. So
that's an entrepreneur. I think that's an entrepreneur. Yeah.
And as we're leaving our listeners with a few thoughts and pearls of wisdom, as I've said, I just want to remind them again where they can find the East St. Louis Initiative, because I think after spending some time listening to you all and being inspired by your stories, they're going to want to find out more.
Our website is ESTL-initiative.org. At the same time, we have a Facebook page, and they can send an email to ESLI application@gmail.com as well.
Perfect.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Yes, great conversation, guys. And we wish all of you much, much luck. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Devon. You guys, we wish you much luck on your ventures. And especially Gülcan, thank you so much for being a guest here and enlightening us all about the initiative and the great work that you guys are doing.
Thanks so much.
Changing the way you view new ventures, igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's Entrepreneurially Thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit our website for show notes, resources, information about our guests, upcoming events, and of course, all your favorite episodes. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them for us in the comment sections, and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The best way to show love is to share. Let everybody know that you're thinking entrepreneurially. So visit our website, entrepreneuriallythinking.com. #ETHINKSTL. Entrepreneurially Thinking is another positive production of RareGem Productions. Thanks for listening.